before I wanted to be a public speaker. I was an internet nerd who wanted to make money on the internet. And then I went to Armin Moore and had a seminar. It's called The Big Seminar. And it was the biggest seminar in our industry at the time. So I remember going to this because I wanted to learn internet marketing, not because I wanted to ever be a speaker. That was never a goal or a plan or a vision I ever had. And I go to this event and I remember seeing the very first speaker get on stage. And the speaker got up there, it was Mike Littman. He started speaking and I was taking notes as fast as I could. I still remember this presentation vividly to this day. 17, 18 years ago. And at the end of it, he actually made an offer. And I remember watching people run to the back and buy his product. And he was selling a $2,000 course. And I remember, I'd never seen something like this before. I didn't know what was happening. I remember looking in the back of the room and counting the people in the back. I was like, $2,000 offer, like 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. I'm like, he made $60,000. Next speaker gets up there. He has a $5,000 package. He speaks for 90 minutes. At the end of it, he makes an offer and people start running to the back. And the same thing, I'm like, so confused. I'm watching this thing happen. I look in the back and people in the back are buying and each one's $5,000. I'm like 5, 10, 15, 20. And like, I did the math. I was like, he's made $100,000 in 90 minutes. Hey, this is Russell. How's it going? Welcome back to my vault. Today, I've got a really cool book with a very fascinating story. This book is called The Art of Public Speaking by a guy named Dale Carnegie. You guys know who Dale Carnegie is? I know you've heard Dale Carnegie, but this guy seems different. It's spelled completely different. Who is this guy? So I'm gonna tell you the story about this book first, and then we'll dive into some of the information from inside. Now for this copy of the book, I paid $535.35. And again, this one's interesting. So most people have heard the name Dale Carnegie, right? Dale Carnegie, who wrote How to Win Friends and Influence People. He still has a huge company around today, 100 years after he passed away, and is one of the most prolific writers and speakers of our generation, which is fascinating because I found this copy of the book. I'm like, Dale Carnegie? Like, that sounds like the same guy, but it seems a little different. So I did a little research, and what's crazy is he was actually born as Dale Carnegie. And at the time, a lot of you guys have heard the story about Andrew Carnegie, who was the most wealthy man on the planet. And so Dale Carnegie, if I consider Dale Carnegie, he spoke at the Carnegie Center. And after he got done speaking, this is 1919, he decided, I should change my name to sound like Carnegie. That way I can leverage his power and his influence. And so he literally changed his name to Dale Carnegie. That was not his given birth name. So this book is one of the rare books that was actually published before the name change. He was actually speaking and teaching at YMCAs across the country, teaching them how to do public speaking. And so this book is the book of him teaching public speaking at YMCAs. And it's just a fascinating book because, again, it was written before he became Dale Carnegie. Now, one caveat about this book, for those of you guys who want to become public speakers, I remember when I first got into this whole world, it was a guy named John Childers. And John Childers was a public speaking coach. So again, I never had a desire to be a public speaker. I remember I was scared to death of presenting in front of people. I remember in college, like being so scared of like when I had to present a paper or something in front of the class. And in fact, it's funny, they say that the number one fear people have is public speaking. Number two fear is death. As I said, like in most situations, the person, like at a funeral, people will be more scared to be the person on stage, like reading the eulogy than being the person who's actually dead in the casket. Like it's crazy how much of a fear this is. And for me, it definitely was. I didn't have it on my radar until I saw human beings who could get on stage, they could move someone, they could change somebody's life, and then they could make that much money. And so John Childers was the last speaker, and he was teaching public speaking, and he asked the questions like, how many of you guys have noticed what's happened over the last couple of days? And I was like, yes, I noticed. And he's like, there's an art to speaking from stage. And what's fascinating, he talked about, he's like, there's two ways to become a great speaker. He said the first way is you become a great speaker. You become famous. You're somebody who speaks really well, and then you can go and get paid to speak, right? And so usually those are people that are famous and stuff like that. He said the other way is you can learn how to speak to sell. And when you speak to sell, what happens is not so much you become a great speaker as long as you learn like how to actually speak to persuade people to get them to move and to buy. And John Childers was teaching that version of public speaking. So that was the path I went down. So I went to go learn how to speak to sell. And for me, the last like 15, 16 years, that's what I've done and I've mastered. And now I'm in a part of my career where because I would argue I'm not the best speaker. I think I'm one of the best ever from like speaking to sell, but not the best speaker. So now I'm in this phase of my life where I want to become a better speaker. Like I want to slur less and speak slower. It's like I'm trying to learn the art of public speaking. And so for me, it's been fun because I'm learning the other side of the speaking business, which is actually how to speak and how to articulate correctly. The very first time I ever experienced a really good speaker that actually changed my life. I was actually on my mission for my church, and I was in a time in my life where I was really struggling emotionally. I was like away from my family, and there was this guy, and he spoke at the conference we had, And his name was Jeffrey Holland, and he spoke, and the talk he gave was called High Priest of Good Things to Come. And he's given this presentation, he's talking about Christ and everything, but he tells this story, and the way he tells the story at the very beginning of his life when him and his wife, they just gotten married, and they just graduated college. I think they're going to start his master's degree or something, and they got him and his family in this car, and as they're driving the car breaks down, right? And he's a young father at the time, he's scared, he's nervous, so he leaves his kids in the car, but it's really hot outside. So he goes and he hikes back to the closest town. And he gets a tow truck or gets someone to come out to fix the car. They come and they tow the car. They bring it back and they look at it and like, well, nothing's wrong with the car. They start it up and it works again. So he gets back in the car. He's driving the family in the exact same spot. The car breaks down again, right? And he's like, what in the world? And so he's trying to fix the car. It doesn't work. He has to hike like 2 or 3 miles back into town, get the tow truck to come, and does this process 3 or 4 times, right? And it's him early in his life. And so eventually, they get a new car and they're able to go on the trip. And then he's talking about later on in his life when he's older, and he's like, tells this story. I still get emotional just thinking about it. He said he was driving on that same road, 40 years later. His kids are grown out of the house. I get emotional thinking about it. And he talks about how he was, he's driving past that exact same spot. And he's like, this is the spot where our car broke down 40 years ago. And he's like, in my mind's eye, I saw this young father and a kid who's like scared and nervous, not sure what to do. And in the talk, he's like, in my mind's eye, he's like, I was yelling out that kid, like, you can do it, like, keep going, like the future's going to be amazing. And just shared that. Anyway, I remember sharing that story, and I remember as a 20-year-old kid who's struggling in where I'm at, and I hear this story of this guy who's now talking about his future self coming back to that moment and like sharing with him, like I know it's scary, but like, you're going to do it, you're going to move forward. And I felt like it felt like it was like the future me coming back to me, like telling me the same thing, like it's going to be worth it. Like, keep moving forward. Like, you're going to do it. I remember like that, like feeling somebody stand on stage and give a presentation and have it like change my entire life. Like, it was the first time I'd ever felt that before. And I think for me, that's why speaking is so important, right? Like, that's why we do 20 events a year right now. Cause like, I see the effect of someone getting in a room and you hear a speaker with the right message at the right time, you can completely transform that person's life. You could change, it could change their relationship. It could change their personal life. It could save somebody from, darkness. It could save, like, there's so many powerful things that come from that. And so public speaking, I think, is such an important skill to learn. In this book, it's a thick book, and there's a lot of stuff. And again, it was written 1915 was when he wrote this book. And so there's so many good lessons in here, but I think the lesson that I got from it that was the most powerful is he talked about, like, if you want to be somebody who's great at persuasion and speaking and doing these things, it's like, you have to really, really, really believe in the thing you're speaking about. And again, it could be a product, it could be a service, it could be something different, and I'm sure most of you guys have felt this before, right? If you really believe in the thing you're selling, you can sell it, right? You can do that, but you have to have a deep conviction. And you see people all the time who, like, there's a product, you tell, like, they could care less about the product, and they're going door to door, they're selling on a webinar or whatever, like, they're just doing it because they're trying to make money. There's a different level versus somebody who, like, understands it and loves it. I think when we launched the ClickFunnels movement a decade ago, and people would see me speak and talk about it, I think the reason why I did so well was not because I was a great speaker necessarily, but I did love, like, I was obsessed with the product. I would talk about funnels, and there's a clip of Tony Robbins. He's like, every time I talk about funnels, he's like, it's like Jesus is coming through your body. He's like, you have to love your product so much that when you talk about it, you light up, you're so excited about it. Like, that's the power of it, right? And I think for most people, they want to learn to become a great speaker versus, like, how do you dig deeper into the thing that you're trying to share, like the message, the product, whatever it is, and like becoming so excited about that when you share it, even if you're not the best speaker, you can be like me and you talk too fast and you say ums and ahs and you mess up all the time and you're kind of all over the place. But if people feel the passion coming through that, like, that elevates your speaking more than, articulating everything perfectly or, speaking perfectly slow or having the stories perfect. It's more like understanding, like, the passion about the message is the most important thing. And, we've ran our big event, Funnel Hacking Live, for a decade now, which means a decade. Every event, we got 20 something speakers. So you're looking at 250, 300 speakers that have come through and spoken at Funnel Hacking Live on our stage. And it's interesting because we get to see a lot of really cool metrics, right? Like, we have people who are in the audience who experience it. We get to be backstage watching. We get to see how people move, what they don't. And it's fascinating because the people that the audience resonate with the most, the people who get the best feedback, the people who sell the most, all those kind of things, it's never the people that are the best speakers necessarily, but it's the people that are the most passionate about the thing that they're talking about. You can tell the ones that are obsessed, the ones that have the passion. You see it in their eye, like the glint in their eye of just like, they're so excited to share the thing. And that's, I think, the most important part. So that's one of the things I really got going back through this book is if we spend as much time really mastering and falling in love with our message, it makes the communication, the sharing the message so much better and makes you a much better public speaker. All right, if you guys want to go deeper and become a better public speaker and learn from the original Dale Carnegie, not Carnegie, same guy. If you want to, I wrote my notes from this book and outlined some really cool things you can get. All you got to do is click the link in the description down below and you can get the show notes. Also, I'll throw a link down below if you want to see the full video of the talk that changed my life. We'll drop a link in the comments down or in the description down below for that as well. Other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed this video and appreciate you guys being here. Thanks so much.